Hello there. Have you ever wondered why ice melts into water or how water turns into steam? These changes happen because matter can exist in different forms. In today's lesson, you will learn how solids, liquids, and gases behave and how matter can change from one state to another. Before we begin, it's important to explain what a change of state of matter means. A change in the state of matter means that the substance changes from one physical state to another, such as from solid to liquid or from gas to solid, without changing its nature or chemical composition. We come the important question: how does matter change from one physical state to another? Actually, heating and or cooling at constant pressure is a common way for substance to change in its state. Heating, when a substance is heated, its particles gain kinetic energy and move more rapidly. If this energy overcomes the forces of attraction between the particles, the substance changes from one state to another. For cooling, when a substance is cooled, its particles lose kinetic energy and move closer to each other, causing the substance to change from one state to another. Let's explore and understand the main changes: melting, freezing, boiling, condensing, evaporation, sublimation, and deposition. For example, let's start with melting. Melting, let's start by asking why, if ice or a solid is heated, it melts and turns into a liquid. If a solid is heated, the energy makes the particles evaporate faster and faster. Then the particles are able to move around each other. When the energy overcomes the forces of attraction between the particles, the solid melts, forming a liquid. This process is called melting. So melting, the change of a matter from a solid to a liquid when a solid is heated. Examples: ice melting into water. When you leave an ice cube at room temperature, it slowly melts and becomes water. Chocolate melting in your hand. When you hold a piece of chocolate, it starts to melt. Freezing. Freezing is the opposite of process of melting. If the liquid is cooled again, the particles will move close to each other, and the forces of attraction will hold them in fixed positions. After that, the particles pack more closely together to form a solid. So freezing, the change of a matter from a liquid to a solid when heat is removed or when it's cooled. Examples: freezing of water. When you put water in a freezer, it turns into ice. And freezing of juice: if you put a bottle of juice in the freezer, it turns into a solid. Note, each substance has its own freezing point. For example, water begins to freeze at 0 degrees Celsius, and above this point, it remains in the liquid. Evaporation. Evaporation is the process that a liquid turns into a gas, usually from the surface without boiling. Only the top, as you see, only the top particles with enough energy can escape into the air. It happens at any temperature, not just boiling point. For example, we see evaporation when clothes dry in the sun or when sweat disappears from our skin. Boiling and evaporation are both phase changes liquid from liquid to gas, but they are different process. But what is the difference between boiling and evaporation? Actually, boiling occurs when the vapor pressure of a liquid equals the atmospheric pressure. Boiling occurs too at a specific temperature, which called boiling point, and throughout the entire liquid. And every substance has a specific boiling point. But in evaporation happens at any temperature, as we said, and only on surface of the liquid. I mean, even at low temperature, some particles at surface have enough energy to escape into air. That is evaporation. For example, evaporation and boiling water. As you see, water begins to boil at 100 degrees Celsius. But before reaching this temperature, it evaporates slowly, but we can't see that. But after some time, when the water level decreases, we will notice that. Okay, when the temperature reaches 100 degrees Celsius, boiling starts, and both evaporation and boiling occur at the same time. As you see, from 0 to above 100 degrees Celsius, evaporation occurs, but boiling starts from boiling point, which is 100 degrees Celsius for water. Condensing: if a gas is cooled, its particles move closer together and slow down enough for the forces of attraction between them to form, causing the gas to condense into liquid. Condensing: the change of matter from gas to liquid when it loses heat. For example, water vapor condenses on glass when warm, moist air touches a cold glass. The water vapor in the air cools down quickly, turning into tiny drops of liquid water on the glass. Sublimation and deposition: some substances can change directly from solid to gas or vice versa without passing through the liquid state. The conversion of a solid into gas is known as sublimation, as you see, and the opposite of this process is called deposition. I mean, from gas to solid. For example, iodine, sublimation, and deposition, and the dry ice, sublimation. But why do some substances skip the liquid state? Some substances need special pressure conditions to become liquids. The air pressure at sea level is 1 atmosphere, but that is not always enough for all substances, as mentioned with iodine and dry ice. To make it easier to review, please refer to this figure. I hope the lesson was clear and easy, and always thank you for watching.